All right. All right. All right. All right. Well, I am live on YouTube. Hey, I'm still trying to get used to this, right? I'm still trying to get used to going live. So, if you're joining me on YouTube, I'm going to be going live on Instagram as well in just a moment. The idea was to go live on Instagram first, right? That's what I was going to do first. But hey, it didn't work out like that. It's all good. First things first, YouTube, welcome, welcome, welcome. I will give some people just a moment to tap in. All right, let's go while I prepare to go live on Instagram. Man, this welcome to the virtual shindig. Welcome to the virtual shindig. Let me go live on Instagram. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. All right. All right. All right. So I am now live on Instagram. All right. What's going on Instagram? YouTube. If you're joining me live, welcome, welcome, welcome to my fellow advocates. In just a moment, we are going to get into this discussion. Um, I know I had put a story out that I was going to try to jump on. Excuse me. I was going to try to jump on at 6 p.m. It didn't work out for me. It didn't work out that way, but it's all good. I showed up. I'm here because why am I here? Why am I doing this live on Instagram and YouTube? Usually I go live for what reason? It's because it's the last Monday of the month and we going live. We going live, y'all. I appreciate you all. You know, some of y'all gonna be coming in just a moment. Some of y'all just gonna be coming in just a moment. Appreciate you all tuning in. Um, at least one thing I wanted to mention was I want to invite you to check out the latest video on my YouTube. I pretty much wrapped up this discussion that I have been doing on men's health, on health and wellness overall. It kind of carried over from the month of June. The month of June was Men's Health Month and Men's Mental Health Awareness Month. So I decided to carry that over to the month of July because I felt like I didn't put out enough content in regards to that topic. So we continued the discussion in the month of July and we wrapped it up. And I just want to encourage you to check out those videos that are related to men's health. Check it out, or just health in general. Check it out, check it out, check it out. And we're going to move on to another topic of discussion, which I'm going to get with you in just a moment. We're going to be talking about three things that I kind of like talking about. And those three things are money, time, and energy. Now, I posted something on my Instagram stories earlier today, and basically just a promo, letting everyone know that I was going to go live on YouTube and Instagram. But the question that I posed was, what do time, money, and energy have in common? Now, for those who are watching, and for those of you who hear that question, there may be a few things that's running through your mind, right? There may be a few things that's running through your mind. Maybe not what I'm thinking of, and maybe it is what I'm thinking of, but we gonna talk about it. We gonna chop it up. But if you're looking at this, basically, whether you're looking at this live or if you're looking at the replay, the intent of this conversation is to be interactive. So it's open conversation, open discussion. I'll be asking you some questions. Feel free to leave any comments below. Put in, I would love to receive your feedback. Again, whether you're watching live or if you're watching the replay, I would love to receive your feedback. So feel free to drop a comment whenever you feel needed. So yeah, let's talk about, you know what, before I get into this discussion, let me ask y'all, who's watching the Olympics? Who's tuning into the Olympics? Anybody? Anybody? If there's anybody out there, put your hands up or whatever, let me know. If you're looking at the Olympics, which sporting event are you looking forward to, or which sporting event you've been paying attention to, which one you have been watching. And of course, it may be more than one sporting event. is there a particular athlete that you're looking forward to checking out, looking forward to see? I know as far as America, if you live in America, there's Simone Biles, there's Sakari Richardson, there may be a few other Americans out there. And even if you're watching this, from another country, there may be a person that you're looking forward to seeing represent your country in the Olympics. And what's your favorite sport? What's your favorite sporting event or sports? What's your favorite sport or sports? For me, so far I've been looking at a little bit of some of this and some of that. Um, I haven't checked out any basketball yet, so I'm not sure. I know US, the US basketball team, they've been winning so far so good. So I've been checking out, when I say some of this and some of that, I've been checking out some archery. I've been checking out some ping pong. I love ping pong, by the way. I One of the events that I look forward to when the Olympics come around is ping pong. I love ping pong, ping pong is my joint. I love ping pong, man. It's intriguing to me. What can I tell you? It's intriguing to me. I love ping pong. So ping pong is one that I look forward to. I've seen someone on social media say how great of a sport rugby is to watch. And my thing is, I know this. I love rugby. And actually, I didn't know rugby was one of the sports in the Olympics. But I love rugby. Rugby is an awesome sport as well. I'll have to try to check that out. So yeah, I'm gonna be looking for rugby. Yeah, I'm gonna be looking for rugby. That's another sport that I look forward to. I definitely want to check out track. I want to check that out. I don't think they're doing track right now. Maybe I haven't seen it. Maybe I overlooked it. I'm not for sure. Gymnastics is not really my jam. It really isn't. I know Simone Biles is out there representing for America for the USA, but for me personally, gymnastic does not do it for me. What can I tell you? That's just my personal preference. I don't too much care for it. But good luck to the USA on that one. Volleyball. Volleyball is another one of my favorite sports in the Olympics. I love me some volleyball. That's another sport that I look forward to whenever the Olympics come around. I try to catch some volleyball. Volleyball is my jam as well, right? But we still early in the Olympics too, man. It's still early. They just had the opening ceremonies this past Friday. So yeah, it's still early. It's still early for the Olympics. So yeah, I mentioned I've been watching a little archery, ping pong, volleyball is my jam. I checked out a little swimming as well. It was the breaststroke race in the pool. I've been checking that out. I'm trying to think, was there any other sport that I checked out? I mentioned archery, right? I think archery, joust. Joust, I believe it's called Joust. It's the one with the swords. I've checked that out as well. That was a bit intriguing, that's something. But yeah, but let me know again if you're watching this live or if you're watching the replay. Let me know if you're watching the Olympics. What's your favorite sport or sports? What's your favorite sporting event? And also, is there a particular athlete that you're looking for that you're checking out? So let me know in the comments below. Let's get into this conversation about money, time, energy, money, time, energy. Let's get into it, y'all. And I mentioned at the beginning of this live stream, I mentioned that I posed a question in my Instagram stories. By the way, if you are on YouTube and if you are not following me on Instagram, feel free to do so. You can follow me at Reggie Keeps Growing. REGGIE keeps growing. So follow me on Instagram if you're on YouTube. And also, if you are on Instagram and if you have not subscribed to the YouTube channel, check me out on the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. Feel free to hit that subscribe button. And also, just to let you know, Instagram, this live, I'm only going to have up for like a short period of time. It might be a day, couple of days or whatever. But if you want to catch the replay, if you want to catch this video from the beginning, feel free to go to my YouTube channel. It's going to be on there once again. Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. Check me out. All right, so let's get into this. Let's get into this discussion. As I mentioned before, money, time, energy. And like I said, I posed the question in my stories, in my Instagram stories. What do those three things have in common? Now, again, if you checked out my Instagram story, if you heard me pose the question at the beginning of this video, it might be a few things running through your mind as far as what they have in common. As for me, and I'll start it off with a story. Now, my guy, shout out to my guy, he's a truck driver. And he comes through where I work at. I have a weekend job where I work at. He comes through, he delivers gas. So every time he come through, we chop it up, man, for the duration of the time that he's there making his delivery. We chop it up. We didn't have some great conversations, that type of thing. So during a previous conversation that we had, my guy, the truck driver, he mentioned that him and his wife went to a family gathering. On his wife's side, it was his wife's family. His wife's family was holding a gathering for the family. So they went there, they went in and fellowship and mingled and all that good stuff with their family. And he told me about one of his wife's kinfolks had came up to him, greeted them and all that good stuff. And, along with that, this person asked my guy, hey, what do you do for a living? And he told him, he's a truck driver, he delivers gas, that type of thing. So the guy goes on to ask my guy, that's interesting, that's intriguing or what have you. So what is a lesson you have learned from driving trucks, delivering gas? What lesson have you learned from that? And I thought he had an interesting response. And that response was, people are wasteful. Excuse me. People are wasteful. That was his answer. And he went on to say, people be wasting gas, people be wasting their money. And when he responded like that, that answer intrigued me. It really did. It really intrigued me. I was like, man, you know what? That's a general statement. People are wasteful. And not only do they waste what you mentioned, people be wasting money, like you say, people be wasting time, people be wasting energy, that type of thing. So, and when I said that, I said, man, that's a great topic of discussion to go on to, my platform with, whether it's the YouTube channel, whether it's Instagram Live, whether it's the Growth Times Infinity podcast. I said, man, that's a good topic of discussion to touch on. People are wasteful. People are wasteful. And that's my answer. When I pose the question, what do money, time, and energy have in common? Is that people waste so much of them. People waste so much money. People waste so much time. People be wasting their energy. What's up with us, y'all? What's going on with us? Why are we so wasteful? Am I just referring to myself? Because when my guy said that, I was like, man, you know what? We do, we have our moments. We have some wasteful tendencies. What's up with that? For real, what's up with that? Why are we so wasteful? Why are we like that, right? So let me start off this discussion. Again, that's my answer. People are wasteful. And it's very unfortunate. It's very unfortunate that we are wasteful of our money, our time, and our energy, because those are commodities. Those are precious commodities. Those are valuable commodities. And another thing I like to do is I would like to ask people, out of those three commodities, rank them from 1 to 3. 1 being the most important and 3 being the least important. I like to ask people to rank them, right? I like to see what people's mindset, right? In regards to which one they see as the most important. But yeah, man, people, we be wasting time, man. And you know what else? You know what? We be wasting money too. And we be wasting our energy. For what? And we don't necessarily have to be doing this, right? So let's start this thing off as far as wasting time. No, we're going to start off with wasting money. I'm sorry. We're going to start off with wasting money. That's what we're going to start off with. What's up, Brian? Appreciate you joining me on this live. Thank you so much, my man. Thank you so much. Brian, your favorite blockhead. man, check out my guy Brian. He's another one of my guys. He talks MMA and the Peanuts characters. Dope, dope platform, dope podcast. Check him out. He goes on every Saturday. He's been going on every Saturday for several years. So, man, this when I say this guy's a content creator extraordinaire, that's the guy right there, man. So, yeah, check him out. Check him out on your favorite platform. So, yeah, let's talk about wasting money. And I got a question for you when it comes to wasting money. Um, when it comes to spending money, you welcome, Brian. I appreciate you, man. You are so welcome, Brian. So back to the question. When it comes to spending our money on our needs specifically, should we do the bare minimum? And I ask this question because it's like, can we waste our money on our needs? That's another question for you. That's an impromptu question. Can we waste our money on our needs? And when I mention our needs, our basic needs, there's food, clothing, and shelter. Can we waste our money on that? Well, I guess it depends, right? When we think about food, when I think about food, right? Can we waste our money on food? And we need food. We need food to survive. We need food to eat. We need food to survive, right? So let's say, let me cook a scenario to you. And I'm guilty of this, by the way. Before I go any further, I am so guilty of this. Let's say that, you bought groceries, you cook a meal at home, and it's an amazing meal, right? It's a great meal. You're eating. And then while you're out and about, whether you're running errands or you're going to and from work or whatever, you just out doing whatever. You decide to, perhaps stop at a fast food restaurant and just pick you up something to eat. Or you go to a restaurant, you go sit down and eat. Are you wasting your money on food? Because think about it. Like I say, at home, you prepared this meal. And I'm all for cooking at home. I'm all for leftovers. I can eat leftovers for several days. But then some of us, because I know some people who do this. That's why I'm bringing this up. I know some people who have done this. And once again, I'm guilty of it myself. You have this home cooked meal, but yet you go to a fast food restaurant or you go sit down at a restaurant and eat while you got this food at home. You already cooked, you already got food at home. But yet, perhaps you wasted your money. What do you think? Is that a waste of money if you do that? Let me see what my man Brian, what he say? If you're spending your hard-earned money on poison like fast food and soda alcohol, then yes. Yes, I was gonna make that point. I was gonna make that point exactly. If you're cooking at home, it is a necessity. Absolutely, absolutely. Yeah, you beat me to the punch, man. You definitely beat me to the punch. So yeah, so basically, yes, we need food to eat, we need food to live, and that type of thing. One thing I learned over time, man. Yeah, I feel you, Brian. Yeah, you're guilty as anyone. Yeah, me and you both, bro. Me and you both. I learned over time, man. It's like I find that while we're spending money on fast food and going to these restaurants, we spending at least $10. Some of these meals can cost you 20, $30, and maybe even more. I learned that some of the healthiest foods are actually starting to be cheaper. For example, like let me kick another scenario to you. I know that when we cook our food at home and we have this home cooked meal, right? And of course, like I said, if we're going to work, if we're running errands or whatever, and perhaps we didn't prepare our food to bring with us wherever we go, right? So we make the decision to go to a fast food, restaurant or to a restaurant to go sit down. Me personally, what I'm doing now, I'll go to one of those smoothie shops. I go to one of those smoothie shops. And it's crazy because over time, some of these smoothie shops are cheaper than some of these fast food restaurants. some of these sit-in restaurants, they're cheaper. And the thing about it is, if you get a nice size smoothie, it should hold you over before you go home and eat your meal. You know what I'm saying? Just, I'm just throwing it out there. This is something that I've learned, right? Or just be better in preparation. Be better in preparation. If you got a home cooked meal at home, just kind of prepare yourself. You can, prepare your meal and bring it with you. Like, hey, I'm going to work, so I have my lunch. I'm going to eat this at work. Or if you're running errands, if you prep your meal, leave it in your vehicle, and be like, hey, if I get hungry while I'm out, then I'll just eat. You know what I'm saying? So yeah, it's all about better preparing. And also going back to what I say, the smoothies, it's a healthier option than most. That's another point I want to make. It's a healthier option than a fast food restaurant. It's convenient. You know what I'm saying? Instead of maybe getting out your vehicle and walking into a restaurant to sit down and eat, you can go through a drive-through smoothie place. It's healthy and it's convenient. And it's not as much. I mean, for example, you go to a lot of these fast food restaurants, like I mentioned, they cost at least $10 to get something to eat. These restaurants, again, I mentioned 20, 30, $40 and up. You go to a smoothie place, man, you might spend you like a good $5, $6 or something like that, and get you something healthy and get you something convenient, get you something to hold you over till you can get back to your meal. So yeah, I'm just putting that out there. So yeah, as I was saying, you could potentially be wasting your money in that particular scenario. So my man Brian weighing in. Let's see what he's talking about. Let's see what he's talking about. 8 days ago, I said I've had enough and said yes to DDP yoga. I've heard about DDP yoga. Yes, I've heard about that. Yes, indeed. It's a good thing. DDP yoga, from what I've been hearing, man, has changed a lot of lives, have saved a lot of lives. So yeah. I mean, being active, that's a whole nother discussion right there. I speak on that on one of my latest YouTube videos, just being active. I definitely want to talk about stretching because I feel like a lot of people forsake stretching. I mean, stretching does wonders, man. I can't begin to tell you what stretching does for me, let alone yoga. I can only begin to tell you what it does for me. But it is very important, very essential that we do some form of stretching. Whether it's a lightweight stretch, whether it's yoga, it could be DDP yoga, whatever the case may be. My man Brian, yep, the shift is happening slowly. Everyone needs to watch the documentary Food Inc. I think I've heard of that before, Food Inc. I might have to check that out. I might have to pull that up or something and put that on my watch list. I might have to check that out. And documentaries, man, I'm trying to watch more of that myself. So yeah, check that out. Yep, those shakes are delicious. Yep, the shakes, the smoothies, they're really good. And the thing about the smoothies is you can get what you prefer, like, depending on who you are. You may not like certain fruits, you may not like certain vegetables, you might be allergic to certain things. A lot of these smoothies, there are a lot of options, and a lot of these smoothies are tailor-made for each and every one of us. You know what I'm saying? So you can really just pick what you want to put in your smoothie. You can probably make your own smoothie, whatever you want to do. But like I said, man, it's convenient, it's healthy, it costs less than most places. So yeah. So yep, it takes discipline for sure. Yep, discipline, man. That's the main thing. Discipline. That's what it all boils down to, is discipline. And there are YouTube guys like Remington James who has videos to watch to walk you through a meal plan he does. Yeah, yeah, meal planning is very important. I mentioned that before. Meal planning. That's something that I'm starting to do. I'm starting to do that. Like, when I go to work, I've always, I've always been that person where I would take my own food that I cook at home. I'll take to work. Not all the time, but most of the time. Most of the time, I do. And also, If I know that I'm going to be rolling around for a few hours, if I'm running errands or whatever, I make it a point to, if I have a home cooked meal, I make it a point to take it with me. Like at some point, if I feel hungry, I can just pop that thing out and just go ahead and, eat me a little something and then go about my routine. Let's keep each other accountable as we shed LBs and save money. Amen to that. Yes, indeed. Accountability is very important. It's very important. Most definitely. That's most definitely. And that's a goal of mine, Brian. I'm trying to shed these pounds myself, man. I'm really working on it. And for me personally, I'm really working on that lifestyle change. I'm not looking at so much going on a diet, because I feel like with diets, those are like temporary fixes. If you commit yourself to a diet, it may last you a week, a few weeks, maybe a month or a few months. But then after that, where do you go from there? So for me personally, it's all about lifestyle change and most definitely about saving money. Even when we go, I mentioned about smoothies being cheaper than a lot of these fast food places and a lot of these sit-in restaurants. But if you go to the produce section, even if you go to the produce section in your supermarket, in the store, a lot of those produces are cheaper than a lot of the other foods that you can get throughout the store. It's cheaper. And it's crazy. I'm gonna bring this up real quick. I just thought about something, right? And this is totally off of what I had planned to talk about, right? And I thought this was crazy, man. I really thought this was crazy. So I live in Houston, and what was it? Like 2 weeks ago, right? We had the Hurricane Barrel. We had the Hurricane Barrel in Houston here. And people was going crazy as always when they hear news of a hurricane, when they hear news of a major storm coming through, people going crazy. They buying all kind of stuff up. They buying water, they buying toilet paper, they buying this processed meat, they buying bread and all this good stuff. They just in the stores, the shelves are cleared. So as I talk about this, thank you, Brian. I appreciate that. Yes, sir. Praise God. Praise God. Um, so as I bring this up, that a lot of these shelves were cleared out. A lot of these shelves were cleared out. Guess which part of the store had a whole bunch of food? Guess. Produce. I mean, produce had everything. I mean, everything that was in the produce section was full. You know what I'm saying? But these people done bought up all this bread, all this processed meat. And there's nothing wrong with protein. I mean, if you want to buy some chicken, if you want to buy some chicken or beef or fish or whatever, you can buy that. But a lot of that stuff was cleared out as well, right? Okay, protein is one thing, but when you buy these snacks and all this unhealthy stuff, and that was the majority of the stuff that was cleared out. But produce, man, you can pick whatever you want to get. And it was nobody over there. It was hardly anybody over there. And the thing about produce, a lot of these produce items last longer than some of this processed food that are in these supermarkets. I thought that was crazy, man. I remember walking into one of the stores and I noticed that. I said, "This is crazy, man. All these people in another part of the store. There was a few people in produce, but it wasn't just overly crowded like some of these other places." But yeah, I just wanted to bring that up real quick. I thought that was something. I thought that was crazy. All right, so yeah, so we talk about wasting money. Can we waste money on our needs? And it really depends on what you're spending your money on. I mentioned food, right? You can potentially waste money on your food. I explained the scenario to you where you have a home cooked meal, but yet you decide to buy food elsewhere when you have a home cooked meal at home. So I talk about that. As far as shelter, can you waste money on your home or your apartment, even though it is a need? Can you waste your money on that? Potentially, it depends, right? So let's say you are a person who wants to, live in a particular area. You're picky about what area that you stay in. You see, the thing about shelter, the concept of, when it comes to shelter being a need is that long as you got a roof over your head, long as you live in comfortable, right? That's all you need for the most part, right? So, but could you potentially be wasting money if you say, hey, I only want to live in this part of the city. I want to only live in this area. Or if you want to buy this big old house, right? And you don't necessarily need it, right? That could be another scenario where we are wasting money on our necessities. Let's say you are a person who live alone. You might want to get like a studio apartment that costs you about, 2 grand a month or something like that. Are you wasting money in that case? Are you wasting money? Perhaps. But all you really need is a roof over your head and living comfortable. That's all you really need, right? But yet, you know, people choose what they want. But essentially, you may be wasting money on that, right? So my man Brian says that is a complicated answer. If you can be content with less, you'll save money. Absolutely. Absolutely. I feel like it's nothing wrong with living below your means. So my question to you is for that person who feel the need to have something more than what they need in regards to their shelter, what is the reason you're getting it? So if you are a single person, you living by yourself, why are you getting a $2,000 apartment or condo or studio? Why are you paying $2,000 a month? Why are you even paying $1,000 a month? Why are you doing that? That's the question I want to ask you. And even renting a home, if you rent a home for, maybe what's the going rate for renting a home? I think they're about $2,000 a month too. So my thing is, if there are cheaper options out there, why are you spending more than what you need? That's my question for you, right? Let's take a family for example. A family. If you have a significant other, if you have a wife, you have a husband, if you have a kid, a couple of kids, a few kids, you may need like a 3, 4, 5 bedroom home. Nothing more than that. That's all you need. But sometimes we have a tendency to live above our means in regards to that as well. So I guess my point is, you know, I feel like when it comes to that, when it comes to our needs, we should only get what's necessary. That's the way I feel. What you think? That's the way I feel. Outside of that, you're just potentially wasting your money. So that's the way I feel about it. My man Brian is weighing in. I appreciate you, Brian. Um, you can shop around for lowest insurance, utility companies, etc. Yeah, that's true. You can do that too. So if you're not so much living below your means, but if you're living right at your means, or if you're living like just above your means, you can kind of balance that out with, like Brian mentioned, finding the lowest insurance, if it's home insurance or renter's insurance or whatever like that, utility companies, finding the best rate for your apartment or home or something like that. So, yeah. So, if you go a little bit above your means, maybe you can kind of, counter that with a low insurance rate or getting the best rate for your lights or your water bill or something like that. So yeah, you can definitely do that. Rent versus own is a very different discussion and it depends on the family or individual. Absolutely. Absolutely, it definitely is. I mean, there are a number of factors when it comes to renting versus owning. It's a number of factors depending on where you are in your life. That's like the main thing. I feel like where you are in your life. Your age, your situation, whatever the case may be. So yeah, that's a whole nother discussion. Like you mentioned, Brian. There you go. Pass on the luxuries. Absolutely, you don't need it. You really don't need it because, like I say, it's like you think about somebody, if you, depending on who you are, as I mentioned again, if you're spending $2,000 a month on something, You got to ask yourself, why are you spending that money? Why? Why? What is the reason? Or who are you spending it for? That's another thing. So yeah, I agree with that. Pass on luxuries. And the family needs to be on a budget, but most don't. Yep, you sure right. Most people don't. People just living above their means for no reason whatsoever. Absolutely. That's what it is. Keyword intentionality. Yep. Be intentional in what you're doing. I mean, just understand you have the power to make your own decision. You can decide what you want to spend your money on in regards to your food, in regards to your shelter. So, yeah, what's going on, Art? I see you, man. What's going on, Art? All right, so we talk about wasting our money or potentially wasting our money on food, on shelter. What about clothing? What about clothing, which is another need? Clothing is another need. Could we potentially waste our money on clothing? Now, think about it. When it comes to need, clothing is supposed to cover our bodies, right? Clothing is supposed to cover our bodies. That's all it's supposed to be for. So when it comes to clothing, picture this scenario. When I was putting my notes together and I was talking about this, I thought about Nike. Thought about Nike shoes. Now, Nike has been around for a long time. I get it. Since the 80s, right? I believe it was since the 80s that Nike been around. But throughout my whole life, man, and especially them Jordans, the shoes, right? It's amazing to me that every time a pair of Jordans come out, people flock to the shoe stores to buy these Jordans. And Jordans, back in my day, man, Jordans used to cost about $100. So now, from my understanding, from what I've been hearing, Jordans cost like what, $300, 200 at least, $300, 400. It's crazy. It's crazy. So yep, if it's too much brand loyalty, yes, it's brand loyalty. That's what it's all about. But I'll kick it to you like this, Brian. For me personally, I mentioned Jordans, right? I mentioned Jordans that every time a pair of Jordans come out, people they go to these stores. And how often do Jordans come out? What, at least once a year? Probably more than that. I mean, I don't keep up with it, so whatever. But I know at least once a year. So essentially, you're buying tennis shoes at least once a year. Excuse me. You're buying shoes at least once a year. These Jordans. So, but yeah. But here's another scenario for you, and this is a point that I wanted to make. Now, this is something new to me, and I've noticed this over time. Is that some people will buy these shoes, whether it's Jordans or any other, or LeBrons or whatever the case may be. But these high price shoes, they'll buy these high price shoes and they'll flip them. So this is what the youngsters are doing right now. They flipping their shoes. So they'll buy shoes. Let's say, however much they cost, $200, $300. They'll buy the pair of shoes, or actually they'll buy more than one pair. And then they'll flip it. They'll sell it for more than what they bought it for. So let me ask you this: is that wasting your money? Potentially not, because you're actually making an investment. You're actually making an investment, which leads me to my next point when it comes to, when we are, wasting money or not wasting money on our necessities, on our needs. What is the ROI? What is the return on investment? So when you think about it, when you think about food, when you're buying food, what is the return on investment? A healthier life. A healthier life. That's the return on investment. So think about that. When it comes to wasting money or not wasting money on shelter, what is the ROI? Living comfortable. Living comfortable. That's the return on investment. When it comes to clothing, the potential ROI could be you could be making more money. For example, these youngsters flipping these shoes. They buy shoes for $200-300 and sell them for about $500-600. You could potentially be making money. It's an investment. So my man Art weighed in. He says, I shop at Ross and online. Yeah, I shop online myself. And then like for me personally, I don't do a lot of shopping. I don't do a lot of shopping. I mean, I do some shopping here and there. I really just buy what I need, you know. And Brian, he brought up the point of brand loyalty, which for me, when it comes to shoes, I buy polo boots. So I'm not really loyal to polo. I mean, I like wearing polo shirts, Ralph Lauren polo. I like the boots, but the thing about the boots is I'm not buying boots, every 6 months or every few months or once a year or anything like that. I'll share this with you. I've had the total of 3 polo boots in my life. And the current polo boots that I have right now have lasted me for more than 10 years. So, yes, I've bought some polo boots. Now, I can buy some cheaper boots or I can buy some cheaper shoes. But I decided to buy polo boots because they're very durable and I know I'm going to have them for a very long time. So I mentioned about, buying Jordans or buying a high price pair of tennis shoes for $200-300. I'm willing to spend 100, maybe $200 on a pair of polo boots. Now, the scenario I kick to you, the reason I like them is because they're durable and I know they're going to last me for at least 10 years. Now, am I wasting money because I spend $100 or $200 on a pair of polo boots? That's my preference. But I know that I'm going to get my money's worth. And I'm not flipping them. I'm wearing them. So yeah, that's that. So my man Art, yes, it's not guaranteed money. I know you're referring to these youngsters flipping these shoes. These youngsters, they flipping these shoes. So I didn't know that part about that. I didn't know that you could buy, and I guess with any investment, it's not guaranteed money. So I understand that. That's with anything. If you invest your money in anything, it's not guaranteed money. So I definitely get that. My man Brian weighed in. It depends on their volume, but I respect the side hustle for sure. You can't knock the hustle for real. That's the way it's set up. And then Brian also says a home is usually a great investment long term. What's going on, Tico? I see you. What's going on, Tico? As I was saying, Brian said a home is usually a great investment long term, yes, but apparel usually just results in breaking even, especially considering inflation. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. Yeah, so a home, going back to that, it definitely is a great investment long term. Even if you decide to live in your home for for several years, for 30 years or whatever, it's still a great investment. Or if you buy a home and if you want to rent it out, if you want to rent it out as, just a landlord or a homeowner, or if you want to turn it into an Airbnb, it's a great investment in regards to that as well. So yeah, again, it depends on the individual and if it's within their means. Absolutely. Absolutely. Brian, I appreciate you, man. I appreciate you tapping in, tuning in. I'll holler at you. See you when I see you. So yeah, we talk about that, right? So wasting money. We talk about wasting money, man. And if you're just joining me, let me get some water. I appreciate y'all tuning in, man. I really wanted this to be interactive, and it has been. My man Brian weighing in, Art, he's weighing in. So I appreciate y'all. Mm. So yeah, before I move on to our next commodity, we talked about money. We talked about, potentially wasting money, especially when it comes to the essentials, when it comes to our needs. So we just got through talking about wasting money. So let's talk about wasting time. Let's talk about wasting time. And my question to you is, what are some activities and or tasks that you waste your time on? What are some tasks that you normally do or that you have done that you consider a waste of time? For me personally, it's social media. For me personally, it's social media. Now, social media could be utilized in a great way. Social media has some great information. You can make great great connections with social media. You know what I'm saying? Some people can make money off of social media. So, but the issue with social media is, and this has happened to me, right? With social media, when you're going down that quote unquote rabbit hole, it's one thing to get on social media and handle your business, right? It's one thing to get on social media and check on a few friends, a few loved ones. But it's another thing to just keep scrolling and scrolling and scrolling and scrolling to the point where you just lose track of time. That's a whole nother thing. And before you know it, 30 minutes to pass, an hour to pass, 2 hours, 3 hours, half the day has passed, and you just been on social media for that long. You just completely wasted your time. That's one example of you wasting your time. Another thing is watching TV. Watching TV for a long period of time. I'm not opposed to watching TV. It's okay to, sit down somewhere and just, watch a little TV, watch a TV show, maybe a movie or something like that, for about 2 or 3 hours. Be intentional in doing that. But then the issue with, when it comes to wasting time watching TV, when we start binge watching stuff, we watch one movie and we decide to watch another one, and then another one, and then another one after that. And before you know it, you like, man, I had something really important to do. I had something productive to do. But yet I wasted my time watching TV, or I wasted my time being on social media. That's what I talk about when it comes to wasting time. Now, I know there are some other examples of wasting time, right? There are some other examples. Now, I will tell you this. I got one word for you. Just one word, and it's only a suggestion. To avoid wasting time is to prioritize. Prioritize. That's the key. Prioritize your time. Something that has helped me along the way in my journey when it comes, if I don't want to waste time. Because I just shared with you those two examples, social media and watching TV. Those things have trapped me into wasting my time. So here's the suggestion: prioritize your time. Make a schedule. Write down a list of things that you need to do on that particular day. Write it down, make a schedule, plan it out. even just go to the degree of write down the specific time that you're going to do that particular task or that particular thing. Prioritize. And also, along with wasting time, I want to encourage you to be mindful of who you spend your time with. Be mindful of the places you go to. And again, what's the ROI? What's the return on investment? If you are going to spend time with someone, how is it going to benefit you? What's your return on investment? If it's a person that you really need to be connected with and it's to sustain a relationship, that's a great reason to be spending time with them. And you're not wasting your time. If this particular person is going to help you get to the next level of your career, of your business, or just life in general, that's a great reason to invest your time in that person. Also, the places that you go to. When you think about the places and spaces that you go into, you got to ask yourself again, how is it going to benefit me? What's my ROI? How is this going to help me in life? How is this going to help me in my career, in my business? How is it going to help me? How is it beneficial to me if I spend time with this person and if I decide to go into this place, if I decide to go into this space? So that's something that I would like to encourage you to consider when it comes to the people that you spend time with and the places that you go, which leads me to wasting energy. The same thing applies when you are considering who to spend your time with, when you are considering the places that you're going to go to. It's very important when it comes to conserving our energy. It's very important. We have to consider that as well. As I mentioned, being mindful of it for the sake of your time, but be mindful of it for the sake of your energy as well. Because when it comes to who we decide to spend time with, there are some energy vampires out there, and we must protect our energy at all costs. We must preserve our energy at all costs. And something else I want to let you know, and I hope that you receive this. I really hope that you receive this. Everyone doesn't deserve your energy. 100%. Everyone does not deserve your energy. I really want you to keep that in mind when it comes to the people that you spend time with and the places you go. Because as I mentioned before, there are some real energy vampires out there, people and places. For me personally, I'm very mindful of who I spend my time with. I'm to the point where I am so mindful of who I text or who I communicate with on social media. Like for real. Like for real, I am so mindful of that. I don't I don't get down with everybody. I really don't. I don't get down with everybody. And when it comes to going to certain places, if I have to think about, if I get it, let me say this. If I get an invitation from from somebody or an organization or a group or whatever, if I get an invitation, say, hey, Reggie, man, won't you come out and kick it with me? It could be a gathering, it could be a networking event, it could be anything, right? It could be a family gathering, it can be a gathering of people, whatever the case may be. If I receive this invitation, and if I have to think about this question, if I have to ask somebody this question, if I have to fix my lips to ask this one question, and that one question is, who all gonna be there? Who all gonna be there? If I have to pose that question, I'm not going. I'm not going. Because as far as I'm concerned, when I receive that invitation, when you receive that invitation, the one suitable answer, the one acceptable answer should be, let's go. Of course, I'm going to be there. Of course. But if you have to think about, or if you have to fix your lips to ask that question, who all going to be there? I'm not going to be there. Because I feel like, man, if I have to ask that, because there could potentially be some energy vampires there. It could potentially be a place where I don't need to be anyways. Again, the return on investment, the ROI, how is it going to benefit me hanging out with these group of people or going into this space? How is it going to benefit me? and who is potentially going to be around me, who is potentially going to come into my personal space. Hey, that's what it's all about. We have to preserve our energy. We have to conserve our energy. Square business. Square business. I got another question for you. Do you match energies with others? Do you match other people's energy? That's my question to you. Do you match other people's energy? And I'll tell you this, matching someone else's energy is one of the worst things you can do. And in regards to preserving and conserving your energy, that's the worst thing you can do. I mean, I've heard people say this before, right? Oh, I'm just matching your energy. I'm matching your energy. That's what I'm doing. Whatever that means. I know what it means. But I'm just saying that's like the worst thing you can do is match someone else's energy. Two reasons. Two reasons. Matching someone else's energy can potentially get you out of your character. Matching someone else's energy can turn you into something that you are not, can turn you away from who you are. That's what matching someone's energy can potentially do. Again, it's the worst thing you can do in regards to preserving your energy. The second thing that matching someone else's energy can do, it can potentially put you in a place where you don't belong. Mentally, spiritually, emotionally. Because if you think about it, if you think about maybe some arguments you've been involved in, think about the arguments or whatever that you've been into. Y'all going back and forth, y'all raising y'all voices. You saying some things you shouldn't be saying. And next thing you know, you hurt. The person that you argue with is hurt. They in their feelings. They got hurt feelings. You done broke their heart. So you are in a place where you shouldn't be mentally, emotionally, spiritually. People talking about matching energy. That's the worst thing you can do. It really is. So I have one word for you to avoid wasting your energy, to conserve your energy, to preserve your energy. I got one word for you. Disconnect. Disconnect. If you think about it, think about things that run off of electricity. Electricity, energy, same difference. Same thing, same difference, right? So you think about things that run off of electricity. If it wants to channel its energy, what does it do? It disconnects from a source. That's what it does. So that's my one word to you is disconnect. So when it comes to preserving your energy, if you need to disconnect from certain people, by all means do it for the sake of your energy. If you need to stop going to certain places, don't go there anymore. Disconnect from that for the sake of your energy. If you need to delete some numbers out of your phone for the sake of your energy, do that. If you need to disconnect from some people on social media, like I have, for the sake of your energy, do it. And as I mentioned before, if you need to stop going to certain places for the sake of your energy, by all means, do it. By all means, protect your energy at all costs. No one is exempt. Nothing is exempt if it's for the sake of your energy. Peace and blessings to you as you continue your journey. So man, we coming up on 1 hour. I appreciate you all. I appreciate you all tapping in, tuning in into this open conversation, open discussion. We talked about money, time, and energy. That's what we talked about. So if you're on Instagram, if you made it this far, whether you was on live or whether you was on replay, I appreciate you all. If you're just joining me, um, be sure to catch the replay on the Reggie the Growth Advocate YouTube channel. Be sure to catch that replay. As far as Instagram, I don't know how long I'm going to have this up on Instagram. It's going to be up for a short period of time. But be sure to check out the replay on my YouTube channel, right? I'll see. I might leave it up for like a day or two or something like that. But anyways, Instagram, YouTube, fellow advocates, I appreciate you all tapping in, tuning in. Let me know what you think about this. Let me know what y'all think about this. Shout out to Brian, shout out to Art, shout out to Tico. I appreciate you all joining me. Appreciate you all joining me, man. But if you're joining me on this replay, let me know what you think about this. Let me know what you think about this. Wasting money, wasting time, wasting energy. How we can, how we can manage our money, how we can manage our time, how can we conserve our energy, for the sake of everything that is all good for us. Let me know what you think. Feel free to leave your feedback. Feel free to leave a comment below. I look forward to reading it. Once again, I am Reggie B, aka the Growth Advocate, and I appreciate you all tuning into this YouTube live and this Instagram live. And until the next time, keep growing and keep going. Mm, 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 mm.